Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to the Better Man Podcast. Today's episode is an interview with Dr. Elliot Justin. He is the founder of MyFirmTech, and we're going to be talking about how your penis health has an impact on your overall health. We're going to be talking about penis health itself, what you can learn about your erections and what that will tell you about overall health, particularly cardiovascular health. We also talk about how Dr. Elliot's invention, the MyFirmTech device, will measure your penis health for you, and you can use that to get objective data and then make improvements to your life. So this is a cool conversation. We kind of just talked about penis health questions and then got into some different things from there. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn something here, and I hope it inspires you to be a better man. Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to the Better Man Podcast. Today's guest is Dr. Elliot Justin. He is the founder of MyFirmTech, and we are going to be talking about penis health. So thank you for joining me.
It's good to be here. My mission is better sex and better sexual health for everyone. And how? Through data. We live in this incredible age of healthcare wearables, smartwatches, smart rings, smart scales. But there's a gap, and that gap is one of particular concern to men, is that gap is sex. And we have invented at FirmTech the world's first monitor of men's sexual health. Smart sex tech wearable, basically embedded sensors into a cock ring. And this is going to transform sexology and urology, because until now, penis is kind of a black box. We don't really know what's going on with it. And matter of fact, there's still a lot that we don't really know. But we have documented 84,000 erections. This is the world's largest database. No one else has this data, and it's being mined by researchers, and we've learned several important things that should change the way in which men take care of their sexual health, and also how every man, not just men with AD, but all men, can improve their performance and their pleasure.
Okay. Well, let's start at kind of the broad overview. What should we know about our penis health?
Well, every man should have 3 to 4 nocturnal erections per night. We all know about morning wood. We laugh about it, but one erection is not enough. And if we want to avoid dead wood, we need to know what's going on at night. So I got into this because 3 or 4 years ago, a professor of urology at the University of Utah, Dr. James Hotelling, told me one come up with a way to count the number of nocturnal erections that men have because they're a leading indicator of cardiovascular health. And I was taken aback by that, because that would be another vital sign. Because in medicine, when we say leading indicator, that's really powerful. In medicine, we treat associations. High blood pressure is associated with heart attack. High blood pressure is associated with stroke, but it's not predictive. If your blood pressure goes up from systolic of 130 to 150, it's an association. It's not predictive. But if a man goes from 4 nocturnal erections to 2, that man is highly likely to have a cardiovascular problem. And if a man goes from 2 nocturnal erections to 1 or 0, that man has a 50% chance of having a heart attack in the next 2 years. Well, that's predictive, and that should lead to a man changing whatever it is that's causing that problem. So in the future, just the way men today track their health in other ways, their blood pressure, they get electrocardiogram once a year, they get blood tests, they look proteins. All men should be following the testosterone and other baseline parameters. In the future, men, certainly all men over the age of 40 or 45, will be tracking their nocturnal erections. How long does it last? How firm are they? How many do you have? But our device also can tell you what's going on while you're having sex, how hard do you get, how long do you last. And with this information, men can then see the impact of diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, bad habits, alcohol, recreational drugs, smoking, poor physical condition upon their sexual performance. And if you, as the biohackers like to say, if you track it, you can hack it. You can't really hack it without tracking, otherwise just guessing. It's so much of what's recommended to improve men's sexual performance, whether they have ED or don't have ED, it's just based upon conjecture and hope. So, for example, if you go to any health food store, there are so many supplements that are recommended for men's health. L-citrulline, white goatweed, maca root, abangada, etc. We've not found a single one to work. That's interesting. For men who are considering improving who want to know how about the status of the sexual health and what men doesn't, getting a smart wearable is a key.
Okay. So how much is penis health a reflection of overall health or of cardiovascular health versus, how much is penis health on its own, if that makes sense?
Well, that's a good question. It's predominantly a reflection of your cardiovascular health. Why is that? Well, because in order to get an erection, you have to have a strong pump. I'll talk about it very simplistically. You have to have a strong pump. Your heart has to be functioning well. And in order then you have to have pipes that come out of the heart, the arteries. They have to be open enough to allow blood into the penis. And on the other side of the circulation, you have to have strong, smooth muscle, and veins that can constrict in order to keep the blood in the penis. So in order to maintain the erection. So cardiovascular health is the key. Now, there are neurological issues involved in erections as well too, but they don't usually, other than diabetes, which is a big problem, they don't usually lead to neurological issues like multiple sclerosis. Not a lot of people have those problems. Obviously, the brain has a profound effect upon erections, as well. And if you have data, you can start to figure out, well, is the problem in my brain or is it somewhere else? So, for example, the man, it says he has ED, but he has 3 nocturnal erections per night. It's a psychosocial problem, more likely than not, or alcohol-related, something of that nature.
Okay.
At the other extreme, if a man has, 2 or less nocturnal erections per night, he probably has a cardiovascular problem, or what's really common, say, a medication side effect. So we doctors prescribe dick-killing medications like antidepressants and antihypertensives without telling people, warning people about the sexual side effects. And with data, you can start to say, well, what's the right dose for me? We don't prescribe blood pressure medications without a blood pressure, but we prescribe ED medications without actually getting data about people. And that's wrong. It's unscientific.
So what you said about being able to use FirmTech to track nocturnal erections and then compare it to, well, if you're getting 3 to 4 nocturnal erections, but then you're having performance issues, being psychosocial instead, that makes sense. We've created quite a few sexual wellness videos. We have a whole series of them. Check those out at manfulyoga.com/SWC. But so a lot of those workouts are physical, right? And there's lots of different causes. Some of them, for some people, they're too tense. And so those people, they go too soon. They don't have problems getting erections, but they last shorter than they want them to because they're over too quick. You raised your pen like you wanted to say something very important.
Because you're getting at the big discovery that we've made, the data. So I hate the word dysfunction. It's yet another way of a shameful thing for men. We get labeled, we got toxic masculinity, we got the death grip of masturbation, we got porn addiction, now we got erectile dysfunction. No one describes women that way. No one talks about women anymore like what they did 30, 40 years ago as being hysteric, frigid, anorgasmic. They have a problem, and the problem is, frankly, for many women, is fixed by vibrators and hormones. Most men just have a problem, and we shouldn't call it dysfunction. So the academic urologists who set the standards, they have projected from the sickest people that they see in their offices onto the general population. And that's not the general population's problem. So they're seeing people that can't attain an erection or struggle to attain an erection. These are men with significant cardiovascular disease. These are men with bad, out of control diabetes, hypertension, or they have angina. But that's not the vast majority of men. Most men get an erection and then they lose it. And they can lose it for a singular reason, loss of confidence, loss of desire, or they can lose it for a whole complex group of reasons, medications, alcohol, on top of, maybe some issue with their partner. That's a problem, though. A guy who gets an erection is getting blood into his dick. His heart is working well enough, and his arteries are open enough that he gets an erection. So with data, the man can start to figure out what is causing this problem. We shouldn't call it dysfunction, though. That's just a problem, and it's addressable. So this is the big story, actually, of what this database, 84,000 erections, revealed, and I present the papers about this as of other doctors. if you don't mind illustrating my hands here,
Yes.
the doctors were thinking that the incidence of erectile dysfunction, no, we know the incidence of erectile dysfunction goes up 10% per decade after age 45.
Okay.
By my age,
Okay.
I'm 72, it's 70%. It's a lot of men. The thinking of the doctors, me too, before I saw the data, was that as the incidence of erectile dysfunction goes up, the firmness of sex erections will go down, the number of nocturnal erections will go down, and the firmness of nocturnal erections will go down.
Okay.
And that's not happening. Instead, what we're seeing is that the firmness of sex erections and nocturnal erections remains relatively constant until late 60s, early 70s, and that brings a taper a bit. So why we having more erectile dysfunction being reported by men, but yet we're not seeing softening of their erections? Well, that's at the nocturnal erections and the sex erection. Well, that's really interesting because it means that the doctors have assumed from the sickest people that they see in their offices that they have a problem with their heart, they have a problem with their arteries, and 10-12% of men do. It's really important. I'm not going to say go ahead and smoke or don't exercise. All these other things that are important. One's cardiovascular health, one's sexual health. But the problem is on the other side of the circulation, Dean. The problem is on the venous side of the circulation. The problem that most people have is they get an erection, they lose it. They need somebody to help them keep the blood in the penis. Pills don't do that. Pills will put more blood in. You can go to the gym and exercise your pelvic floor muscles, but those are skeletal muscles. They don't pump more blood into the penis. How do you keep the blood in the penis? It's a ring. I got into this for the data, but I ended up realizing that actually what most men, even men who don't have PD, need is a cock ring. If a man wants to rock harder, last longer, be more confident, be more likely to please their partner, a ring is the answer. And the problem is rings have been made for the last 150 years out of these hard silicone rings. They pinch, they're uncomfortable. They can actually be dangerous and cut the circulation. So in order to count the number of nocturnal erections overnight, we actually have a ring that's been worn safely for 8-10 hours. We have to reinvent the cock ring and make it out of material that will not cut off the blood circulation, but will improve man's performance. Now, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But I got into it for the data, but ended up reinventing the cock ring, cocking to help all men. Look, Dean, you look like you're really, really fit. But I bet things have changed for you already. Here's what's changed. I know from looking at you, and because it's true of all men. When you were like 12, 13 years old, Dean, and you held a girl's hand, no other stimulation, you get a hard on for like an hour and a half, right?
Sure.
Yeah. That doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No.
Right. So all men, it's so kind of so obvious. All men, as we get older, experience blood leaving our penis faster. And now it's multifactorial, but every erection ends with blood leaving the penis. The way to improve every erection is have something that holds blood in the penis. And any man can prove that this to himself tonight. Even there are any doctors listening, because they tend to be kind of conservative. Go to Pornhub or SNXX, wherever you go when you're alone. Get rock hard, and then no stimulation. Your erection will go down in 25 to 35 seconds. Then get rock hard again and put a ring on. Of course, but any ring will do. Put a ring on it, and you're going to stay hard for about 2 minutes. And that's telling all men that a ring will help you to last harder, to last longer. And therefore, the issue for a lot of men when they get an erection and lose it is a confidence issue. They anticipate they're going to lose their erection because maybe it happened the last time with a partner, or they've had too much to drink or whatever. And a ring is a simple solution, just the way vibrators turned out to be the simple solution for women.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. Cool. So I want to go back to the data. That was interesting to me. So like talking about the kind of where the data doesn't do what you expect it to do. So 40s, 50s, men hit their 40s, 50s, 10% increase in erectile problems. We won't say dysfunction, every decade from there on. But the firmness stays the same until 60s or 70s. So what's happening there? What's happening to men in their 40s and 50s? Do they have more, is it more psychological, stress related, or like what's happening?
I think it's multifactorial. I think that there are, one, if we're going to talk about marriages and committed relationships, there are things involved that men don't want to talk about with their partners. We all talk, the therapists put so much stress on communication. But what man wants to tell his wife? And I actually hear about this. I hear about some gay guys too. What man wants to tell their partner, your pussy's too loose, or I'm bored by this. I've done it. I've done it with you this position too many times. No guy's going to do that. But the most common story, and I hope this isn't too vulgar for you, it's the most common story that I hear from patients and customers from men in the 50s and 60s is, I get hard. I go down my wife. She has an orgasm. Then she wants me to penetrate her, and I lose my erection. And if you ask these guys in detail what's going on, is their partners, one, are not paying attention to them because they've had their orgasm. Two, often what I hear from these men is their wives have had 2, 3, 4 children. They're not getting the friction, that they need. They just don't want to discuss it with their partners, and as a consequence, they lose their confidence. There are other issues that enter into it. There's alcohol. There are, long-term relationships are stressful, and the divorce and the divorce rate reflects that. So guys in their late 40s and 50s, they're often 10, 15 years into a marriage or a relationship, and there are issues with money, children. And then factors I just mentioned, they're just the boredom, and people don't plan for pleasure. It's really interesting. It's interesting to me going to the gym, for example. People go to the gym. I do. You like you do as well too. I go there with a plan. I work out with a trainer 3 times a week, and when I go there by myself, I have a plan. I don't rely upon spontaneity. I think it's a mistake, people's marriages, for people to rely upon spontaneity. I don't, Dean, if you're going to come visit me in Montana, I'm a really good cook. If you showed up, rang my doorbell, I have a meal planned. I have an evening plan. It wouldn't be, hey, Dean's here. Let's see what's in the refrigerator tonight. And, got some rotisserie chicken. Let's heat it up. I think the people are falling out of intimacy with their partners. They need to approach it kind of the way in which they would approach exercise.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is it's a buildup of stress just of life factors, kids, if there are kids involved, jobs, financial struggles, like that all makes sense. And then in relationships, just, they got out of the honeymoon phase, they get into the swing of things and then just kind of, they stop being honest. They don't want to hurt their partner's feelings. And then it just leads into really a lack of intimacy. And I think a lot of people just kind of accept that as normal. And that's why people aren't as, that's why people aren't as proactive about, improving it. They're like, well, this is just normal. This is what happens. But
it's not good.
It's not good. We talk about normal with a lot of other things. Like, it's normal for people to be overweight. It's normal for people to be pre-diabetic. It's normal for people to not exercise. These are not good normals, but they are normals. But I guess I can just speak from my own experience. But I think there is a layer of vulnerability that a lot of men, or a lot of of openness or communication or honesty, that a lot of men are just not willing to go to with their partners because they don't want to hurt their feelings. And so that just kind of that builds up over time. And if you don't express it, then you have a growing divide between you. So you add that up over 10, 20, 30 years, and you've got just kind of like this meh relationship or partnership.
Well, people need to start thinking about, and it's part of the doctor's fault because we didn't talk about sex, but people need to start thinking about the benefits of sex. We know that people that have an orgasm every day cut their cortisol levels between 25-50%. That's a stress hormone. So there's something right away that's profoundly beneficial. We know that.
Is there data on what is about 2 or 3 times a week? Is that also significant?
The study, I remember what time I had was every day, but there was a study about 2 or 3 times a week. There's a study in men over age. Now it's on 65 and 7. I don't forget which one, of the UK. a large study, a couple thousand men, and looking at them for the next decades, like 65 to 75 or 70 to 80. But men who had sex twice a week versus men who had sex once or twice a month cut their risk of cardiovascular death by 50%. Now that's, you're still going to die, but that's significant.
You're still going to die, but.
Well, one thing, by background, I'm an ER doctor, and one of the things, one ER phrases is eat right, stay fit, die anyway. But nevertheless, it's important to eat right and stay fit.
I like that. It's a good bumper sticker.
We also know that couples that have sex 2-3 times a week versus couples that have sex less than twice a month have half the divorce rate. Now that's significant because, keeping the family unit intact is profoundly important, and the impact on society is enormous in terms of the children not becoming criminals, not becoming alcoholics, not getting involved with drugs, finishing high school. So people need to, in my opinion, need to work at this more, plan for pleasure, rather than make excuses. But let's go back to data for just a moment, because rather than dysfunction, I'd rather think about it as fitness, because fitness is positive. I think about it in terms of erectile fitness. We all are on the road from erectile fitness to erectile dysfunction. We'd like to know where we are on that road, and we'd like to be able to stop and ideally back up. We don't. What the tech ring does is give men a dashboard. It tells them where they are. And that's profoundly valuable.
So I have a health ring that I've had for maybe a year now, and so I'm gonna ask you to kind of compare it to that. So I have a ring that measures my sleep. It tells me what my deep sleep is. It tells me what my REM sleep is. It tells me how long I've slept. If I had breathing disturbances, it tells me it tells me my readiness levels. It tells me, if I'm like today, I woke up and it said, hey, you have some major stuff going on. You should take it easy today because your body temperature is elevated and your resting heart rate is higher than usual and you are breathing faster than usual. So those are the kinds of things that I get from my smart equipment. So how does that compare to what you're getting with FirmTech?
Well, I hope it wasn't this interview that's making things stressful for you.
No, I like talking.
I'm joking. So, Oura ring is like an Oura ring for the dick, and it's been described as such. And so there's some interesting things. I'll get to sex in a second. Well, I'll put it this way: there are a few vital signs that interest men as much as the sexual health. Also, the device that you wear in your finger is using an accelerometer, some detects motion to determine whether or not you're sleeping. If you're having REM sleep, quality sleep, you're kind of comatose. You're not moving whatsoever. Well, it happens to be that every episode of REM sleep is accompanied by a nocturnal erection. And you can actually use our device if you want to measure the quality of your sleep and compare the two of them. And we have engineers on our team who have Oura or Whoop. I'm not advocating brands here, but they have these smart devices. And then within about 10 minutes of each other, we tend to get a little more documented REM sleep than they do. But ours is actually more of a direct measure. Now, we haven't proven this yet in the large study, and there's going to be one kicking off, this fall. Actually, it's already been approved. It's going to be at Baylor, coming out of Baylor University, comparing our device, tracking using our device, using Whoop, which is similar to Oura, and also continuous glucose monitoring to see really what's going on at night. And not only what device is best, but it's probably going to turn out, by the way, the devices are complementary. Like one's going to be better than the other in terms of assessing the quality of one's sleep. But what information can you get from this? Well, we got 2 mega cardiac catheterizations that I'm aware of because their nocturnal erection deteriorated. You're not going to get the type of information from a ring that you wear on your finger. It's not predictive of your cardiovascular health. So, I average 3+ nocturnal erections per night. If that number went to 1+, I'd be alarmed. I have a cardiovascular problem, medication-related problem. It wouldn't just be, hey, it appears that a notification would come to me saying, hey, it appears that you're under stress. I would get a notification saying, it's highly likely you have a cardiovascular problem. You need to see a doctor. So, similarly, our device will also tell men about medications that are impacting their sexual health. I focus on 2 categories before, which are the antidepressants and the antihypertensives. And
yeah, that's something that I hear about a lot.
Too.
A lot of people are, you're fighting these medications that are making it impossible for you to have erections. And so they're like, I'm doing the workouts and I'm doing your sexual wellness workouts, but I'm also taking antidepressants. So that's definitely something that people need to be aware of.
So we have both doctors as customers and doctors utilize this device to determine the right dosage. Because I'll dump on doctors again. One of the things that we do that's really wrong in terms of objective, data-driven objective care is we treat everyone as if they're one size fits all. So Dean, you and I, different ages, different physical conditions, probably taking different supplements, et cetera, et cetera. But if we both have high blood pressure, a doctor would start us on the same medication. Well, that's kind of dumb because same medication, the same dosage, because it really it's not about, they should know about our BMI and other factors. That we actually, with a blood pressure cuff, we could take a blood pressure twice a day, and that would help us determine what's the best time of day to take the medication, what's the right dosage. So with our smart tech, we encourage people get to get multiple readings, get multiple data points, and they can actually say, gee, I'm taking antidepressant, it's 300 milligrams, it's hurting my dick. What if I go to 150? What if I go to 225? The doctors aren't thinking this way. The doctors are thinking about one size fits all prescription of medications. And I think that's a mistake. So for example, the PD5 medications, Cialis being the most popular, tadalafil being the most popular one. Well, what's the right dose? I tend to say 5 milligrams tadalafil every day for not so much my penis, but for other health, cardiovascular reasons. But I know from my nocturnal data that there's no difference between me taking 5, 10, or 20. But if I went to a doctor and told him I had ED, I have trouble getting it up, he wouldn't ask me, well, is it when you masturbate? You have a problem? He wouldn't ask me, is it is it your wife, girlfriend, whatever? They would just give me a pill. And if I came back to him 3 months later and said, hey, I don't notice any change, you just double the dosage. Well, or then they ask double it again to 20. Well, that's stupid because with our device, you can actually say, well, what's the right dose? Is it working? We have guys who are taking PD5 medications. They get our device and they realize that actually I don't need this. The problem is in my head. I don't need the pill. Yeah. And the pill has a profound placebo effect as well too. I mean, I prescribe it to guys who tell me if it works, if it's in their wallet.
Yeah. That's cool. So what are some other you've talked about a lot of them so far, but what are some of the data points that you'll get from the ring that might not actually correlate to penis health that can be really important to know?
Sure. Well, aside from the medication effects, it will tell you about your heart health. If a man my age is having 3 plus nocturnal erections and they're a 6 in strength, we have a 1 to 10 scale, and you're getting 75 minutes of nocturnal erections per night, you're for good cardiovascular health. And that doesn't mean you should stop exercising, but you're in good cardiovascular health. And then if a man my age, for example, is having 2 nocturnal erections and they average 4.5 in strength, that man, you have a cardiovascular problem. So our device, these data points become another way of assessing your cardiovascular health as you age. And that's profoundly valuable. And I believe that will become the standard of care. Whether it's our technology or not, in the future, men of 45 to 50 will go to a doctor on up. Within 3 years, the doctors are going to want to know about their erectile fitness score, as well as their blood pressure, the electrocardiogram, the protein, testosterone, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What are some, so one of the other questions I wrote down are, what are some of the other things that impact penis health? So, we talked about some medications impacting that, but what are some other things that maybe people don't realize impact it that they should be aware of?
Well, people should be thinking about testosterone as well too. It's a mistake if you have sexual dysfunction, sexual or erectile fitness issues, or you're certainly over the age of 45, 50, you should know your total T and your free T. There's an alarming decrease today, as so many of us are aware through the media, in overall testosterone levels. And it is probably due to endocrine inhibitors in the diet. All right, that's certainly a strong association. It hasn't been proven, but that's certainly a strong association between eating processed foods and exposure to plastics. So with our with our technology, if your T is low and you start testosterone replacement therapy, it can be made objective. Right now, if a man is concerned, as T is low or borderline low, or just wants to take T because he's getting older, is concerned about aging issues, the doctors just ask subjective questions. Hey, how's your sleep? How's your energy? How's your libido? These things are subjective. Our ring makes it objective. How long do your nocturnal erections last? How high are your nocturnal erections? How many you're having? Because I recognize that a good deal of sex is subjective. It's in our minds. But there's a part of it that's objective, and I want to help men. I want to give men objective knowledge to help them to have the one in a lifetime love making that almost everyone desires.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm getting more of a clear picture that this is helping to provide a lot of different metrics that are going to help not just sexual life, but also look at other aspects of your health and then help you make informed decisions based on data.
That's correct.
Which is, probably what you said at the beginning, but I'm sometimes absorb things more slowly. So I like to be able to take it all in and then really be able to explain it. So, okay.
It requires
cool.
explanation. It's fresh. And it's what was really fresh is what I spoke about very early on, which is that if a man wants to rock harder, last longer, be more confident, have more intense orgasm, put a ring on it. If you want to perform your very best, put a ring on it and take a pill. And that's different than what, guys have a lot of pride. Gay guys don't have this issue. Not they don't have pride, but gay guys have been into ring. 9% of gay guys who are sexually active use rings. Only 10% of straight guys do in the United States. And there's a certain male pride resistance. So like we go to the American Urology Association or the Society for Sexual Medicine conferences. One of the jokes we have is you could tell the difference between a straight doctor and a gay doctor or therapist. One question: do you use a cock ring? Gay doctor will be like, yeah, last night. Straight doctor will be like, oh, well, maybe some of my patients will need that. I don't need that. Well, it's not about need. It's about want. Do you men want to last longer, rock harder, have more intense orgasm, be more confident? Any guy who says no, they should probably have a mark on their foreheads that all potential lovers stay away from them.
Well, that's a good new thing that I did not know, which is kind of surprising given I do have a disproportionately large gay audience. Cool. Hey, so one thing you were talking about testosterone, I don't know if I don't know if this is your background at all, but just assuming you have some experience, some opinions in this area, something that I've kind of learned about testosterone and in a lot of these conversations that I've had is that it is not as much a reflection of your overall health as I thought. So, I just assume that, okay, if you get all your healthy habits in order, then you're going to have, a good level of testosterone. Or if you are unhealthy right now and you have low testosterone, then all you need to do to fix it is to get your healthy habits in order. And from what I've learned, that's not actually the case. And that if you don't have higher testosterone levels to begin with, then a lot of these efforts that you might be making, whether that's lifting weights or, eating or trying to put on muscle, whatever it is, that you're going to have a lot of difficulty with it because you don't have the necessary testosterone levels to actually be successful with it. So I just wanted your opinion on that.
No, I'm actually quite interested in this area, and have personal experience with it as well too. So if a man has normal T, that man can still have bad heart disease. If a man has normal T, that guy can still have bad diabetes. So having a normal T isn't necessarily indicative. Doesn't necessarily mean you have good overall health. On the other hand, if a man has low T, it'd be very unusual to have good overall health. If a man has low T, that man will have an impact on pretty much every system of the body: immune system, muscle, sexual health as well. And one of the great things about the tech ring is that it makes testosterone therapy objective. It makes it, as I discussed before, it makes something that where you can actually see the impact. If someone is low T and they still on testosterone, they can actually see what the right dose is for them, because they'll see their nocturnal erections lasting longer, getting firmer, potentially increasing in number. But what I encourage men to do with taking T, and this is how I approach T, is what do we want? Well, I'm concerned with T. I'm 72 years old. I don't want to lose my muscle mass, and I ideally, because I want to gain muscle, and I want to be certain that that I have enough T's that's not having an impact on my sexual health. So my T was in the low 300s when I started on T maybe 2 years ago, and then now I keep up around between 600 and 700 or so. I don't have erectile dysfunction, so there was really no change with T upon my nocturnal erections, but my muscles got stronger, objectively stronger. That I increased my upper body strength by about 10% in terms of, most of my exercise routine is CrossFit, but because I'm a guy, I got to do some bench presses and I've got to do some curls, because that's what we do because we're guys. And I was surprised how quickly within like 6 weeks, I was curling and pressing significantly more weight without trying. When I prescribe T to people, I encourage them to do two things. One, get your baseline nocturnal erection measurements. I'm talking about, this is for men with low T, and also get some baseline muscle measurements. Just tape measures it is really easy. You don't need to go to a doctor and get a fancy bioimpedance machine, analysis for $1,000. You can do it yourself with just tape measure it.
Okay. Cool. So, FirmTech. Where do we get FirmTech? And how do we get started? Pure. You sent this to me a few months ago, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to set it up. And totally honest, I've opened it. I have it on my bedside table. I have not used it yet. I don't know how many people have seen it there. I don't know if they've thought anything. No one has said anything like, hey, Dean, you should probably put that in the drawer. I don't know if anybody knows what it is. It's relatively, honestly, it kind of looks like a watch when it's folded up, like a smartwatch. So it's pretty pretty on a, it doesn't look like that should definitely put away, but for someone who's like, I've said like, hey, I've told my wife, like, Marissa, I need to like try this thing. I'm interviewing this guy, like, a couple days from now, and I need to, and she's like, I don't know about having that, on me or in me. And, so yeah, maybe you can speak to the apprehension.
Well, one thing, if it's going to go in her or on her, you're putting it on the wrong way.
Okay. All right. That's the first thing I'll say.
Several things. One, the tech ring in general gets good reviews from female partners, because it actually, especially older women, I know I can imply your wife was older, but I just mean not with someone who's in their 20s. I'm assuming that Marissa's not in their 20s, because it's covered with soft elastomer.
She looks like it.
Of course. And you're like 15, so she's like a cradle robber.
Yes.
It's covered with a soft elastomer, and with a little bit of lube on that, it provides a more comfortable area for the clitoris.
Okay.
Especially if she's on top. Again, we document 84,000 erections, and just to which the non-tech version has been used hundreds of thousands of times. It's all a lot of them. So we're talking about millions of erections, and I've only heard from one woman who said that it was uncomfortable on her clitoris. I think your wife might actually enjoy it. What do I like about it, and what I think you'll like about it is that, one, it'd be interesting for you to get your data. You look like in great health, but it would be interesting nevertheless to get your data. But two,
yeah,
I'm assuming from what you said, have you ever used a cock ring of any sort? That sounds like a no. See, so the problem,
it's a think maybe yes. If I think I've had one. I don't know if I used it, or maybe let's say fewer than 5 times if I have.
Yeah. Well, they pinch their own console. There's hard silicone rings. It's been made the same way for 150 years. Our ring is not made out of silicone. It's made out of elastomer. So it allows the blood in, just constrains the venous return. And it's also, it can be adjusted. So when I use our ring, tech ring, for example, for sex, I tighten it up, pull through the loop a little bit, tighten up around the shaft to enhance my pleasure. And then I loosen up overnight, the other way around the shaft, to wear it overnight. I mean, some guys, and you sound like probably one of them because you're hesitant about putting it on. Some guys, it takes 2 or 3 nights to get used to having it on. So that was the case for me. I'm the type of guy to take off my watch, take off my rings at night. I don't like having anything on me. So first couple of times, I'd wake up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, aware that it was there, and you just simply unhook it, rehook it, because sometimes it might pull on your skin, near pubic hair, whatever. But at this point, I don't even know. I don't even notice it. If I have to take a piss in the middle of the night and I got a hard on, I just unhook it, take a piss, and go back to bed. So it's really comfortable. I mean, here's my recommend to you. Forget about the data. Wear it around the house for an hour or 2 just to get used to having it on your body, and just wear it to have sex with your wife. See what she thinks. Forget about the data. Just use as a cock ring. But remember, it doesn't go down the shaft. It kind of wraps around the balls. And the reason for that was twofold. One was because we didn't want to get rotational artifact with all these ordinary rings around the base of the shaft. They can rotate. We didn't want to get rotational artifact. And 2, we wanted to anchor it on the balls to prevent rotational artifact. But also because we wanted to actually retain more blood in the balls because they're secondary erogenous zone. So, Dean, this is your homework assignment. Just
homework
wear it
assignment.
for sex.
All right. Okay. All right. I think I'll have to have her. She's going to have to have. I'm going to have her watch me wash it.
I think she put it on you.
She's a bit of a germaphobe, so she likes things being clean. So I think as long as I show her, look, I'm washing this, then I think we'll be. I think that's the most important part, probably.
Yeah, it's made out of medical grade elastomer. So it's not. I'll put it this way: 84,000 documented erections. No one's had to go to the doctor. No one's had to get a prescription. There's not been an incidental complication. Elastomers are stickier though. They can collect lint. If you leave it out in the air, it will, collect some lint and squash it off.
Okay.
Or you can lick it off. Have her lick it off as well, too. I don't know. No, it sounds like she won't do that either. So
that sounds gross. All right. Rapid fire. This is, I like asking guests these questions. They're not really related to what we talk about, but I like to see what men think, especially men who are, all men, not just people with brands and things, but also members that we interview for these. So first question is, what is one habit, belief, or mindset that has helped you the most with your overall health and wellness?
That's a great question. I think an orgasm a day keeps the doctor away. And I've tried to have an orgasm a day, every day, since I could have an orgasm. Since I discovered my father's Playboy collection, I was like 11. Okay. I think the other habit is tenacity. When I have a goal, I work at it. If I achieve it, even if getting there can be humiliating at times because I might lack certain skills or I might not, lack knowledge. Tenacity is, I think, it's key to success.
All right.
So let's not forget the orgasm every day too, by the way.
Right. No, we got them all in there. What's one thing that you do for your health that is often overlooked or undervalued by others? And obviously, sex, orgasm, that's one. Yeah, what about? I'm going to have to give you another one.
I ride horses, and I don't think people understand how much exercise involved that. If you ride, my wife says I ride like a 15-year-old. I ride at least like a 30-year-old. But if you ride horses aggressively, aside from getting the benefit of intimacy with these incredible animals, it's a core workout. I am surprised at how often I'm winded after several hours of riding. And I think that riding horses is underappreciated. People think, you're walking up people go to dude ranches and they see people, the horses walking along, or people go to ride in the arena. Go out in the wilderness, go over broken trail, go over, rocks and cross streams and have an adventure and get your heart pumping. It's great.
Okay. Sold. What's the most stressful part of your day-to-day life?
Well, I started 7 companies. This is the most complicated company that I've ever done, because it involves everything from invention, supply chain, hardware, software, firmware, research, international research, retail, distribution, wholesale. It's stressful.
Yeah. You mentioned before we started the call that you're currently in. Am I allowed? Is this a secret study, or am I allowed to?
No. I'm in Egypt. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing in Egypt?
I'm in Egypt to meet with they say they're the largest andrology group, men's health group in Cairo. And there was, they want to do a large study incorporating our technology into their practice, because the culture is very different here. There are enough problems in our culture back in the United States with sexual health. We talked about this really incredible pandemic level incidence of erectile dysfunction, 50% by age 50. Well, it's even higher here. And there are issues. People marry when they're virgins. People don't masturbate. And as a consequence, there's a profound level of psychosexual dysfunction. And so these doctors want to use our technology to both research the technology, the value of technology, but also to help people.
Okay, cool. And last question, what's your best piece of advice for men who want to be healthier?
I think stop making excuses. Go to, don't think you can do it on your own. Get a trainer, and have a disciplined program, and do it. I don't think you need to go I don't think, you have to do it 14 hours a week, but I think you need to have 4 to 5 hours a week of significant, both cardiovascular exercise and strength building exercise in order to be healthy. And you're going to feel a lot better about yourself too. And it's so easy to, and I've done in the past when I've been working back when I was younger, I had kids, and I was also working in the ER. It's so easy to have excuses. I'll do it next week, or I'll start tomorrow. It's just, don't make excuses. Do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Elliot, thank you. I'm going to put the links in the show notes here anyways, but can you tell us where to find more about you, your work, and FirmTech?
Sure. You go to MyFirmTech, MyFirmTech.com. Click on the science section, and you'll read about the value of what we're doing, and put a ring on it. Get your data and put a ring on it to improve your performance. You can also reach me personally at Elliot, ELLIOT, at MyFirmTech.com. I answer almost all my emails.
Awesome. Cool. And we do have a promo code for you guys. If you could in Manflow Yoga, I think it's 15%. So use code Manflow Yoga, and put a ring on it. I love that. That's a is that on the website anywhere, or what's like your your go-to slogan? It is? Okay, cool.
It's on the website.
All right. Love it. Very, very clever. Well done, sir. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me for this episode. Elliot, thank you for sharing about the FirmTech and also about penis health and overall men's health. A lot of really good data in here. So thanks again. Appreciate you taking time out of your trip here.
Thank you, Dean. It was a pleasure.
Cool. All right, guys. Hope this inspires you to be a better man. I'll see you on the next episode. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to learn more about Dr. Elliot, check the links in the show notes. And again, if you want to get the FirmTech device, you can use the code ManflowYoga at MyFirmTech.com. I want to encourage you to leave a review for the podcast if you're enjoying this. You can do that anywhere you listen, whether that's on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, or in the members area. We also have video versions of the podcast in the YouTube channel, the Better Man Podcast YouTube channel, or on the members area, the Manflow Yoga app and members area. And then if you haven't started with Manflow Yoga yet, relevant to this conversation, we do have a free 7-day sexual wellness challenge. You can sign up for that at manflowyoga.com/7DC. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope it inspires you to be a better man. I'll see you on the next one.